Morning friends, happy Monday, how the heck are you doing? And the latest news about Andrew continues to leak out of Buckingham Palace. Can these guys not keep a conversation or an agreement secret? Thankfully, we're getting the benefit of it because we're seeing who these people really are. And whatever you think about Andrew, he is a brilliant negotiator. Why is he a brilliant negotiator? Because he's literally backed Charles into a corner. If you want me to leave my current royal lodge, you are going to have to give me 2 homes, Charles. Greed, obviously. We know Andrew through and through. But why has he done this? Why has he taken this negotiation technique? Because Charles can't win. If Charles gets him out of his current royal lodge, which is a mansion, and then gives him 2 properties, one for him and one for Fergie, that is not a win for the nation, and it's not a win for Charles. So whatever Charles does now, if he lets him stay, he's weak. If he moves him and gives him 2 houses, he's even weaker. Charles cannot win. I'll tell you something about Andrew. He is in a strong position. Yes, there's no UK taxpayer that actually likes him and wants him to stick around. But in terms of negotiation, he is in the driving seat. He's the problem that Charles has got to solve. And he's not going to go quietly. And it's going to be expensive. And Charles is going to look weak. Comments are open as ever. Let me know what you think.
You heard that right. Andrew has somehow managed to corner Charles, and honestly, it's both unbelievable and completely predictable. This is exactly what happens when corruption meets entitlement. We're watching a monarchy eat itself from the inside out, and the mess is spilling into the public eye. Let's break this down, because what's happening right now says so much about how the so-called firm operates. You've got a disgraced prince, stripped of public duties, publicly shamed over his association with Jeffrey Epstein, and yet somehow he's still dictating terms to the King of England. If that doesn't tell you how warped the priorities of this institution are, I don't know what does. Now, remember when Charles first took the throne? He wanted to show everyone that he meant business. Slim down the monarchy, cut costs, present a more modern face of the royal family. He wanted to look decisive, strong, a king in control. But here we are, not even 2 years later, and he's being strong-armed by his own brother into giving him 2 homes. 2 homes. For a man who shouldn't even be living on royal property to begin with. Let's be real, Andrew is radioactive. Every headline about him drags the monarchy further down. Every reminder of his past dealings, his arrogance, his refusal to show genuine accountability, it all reinforces what people have always suspected. The royals protect their own, no matter how corrupt or disgraceful they are. And Charles? He's proving that to be true. Because rather than standing firm, he's dancing around this man's ego. Charles doesn't want to fight, not with Andrew, not with the press, not with the people who still whisper about how unfit he is as a monarch. So instead of leading, he negotiates, he bargains, and he looks weak doing it. You see, Andrew knows how to play this game. He's not intelligent in the moral sense, but he's cunning. He knows that Charles hates bad press more than anything. He knows Charles wants to protect the image of unity, especially now when the royal brand is crumbling under the weight of hypocrisy and scandal. So Andrew threatens chaos, the kind of chaos Charles fears most. And in return, he gets leverage. It's power born from blackmail, not respect. But in the royal family, that's often how it works. Let's talk about Royal Lodge. That massive Windsor mansion that Andrew refuses to leave, even though he's been stripped of his official role. Even though the public has long made it clear they don't want him funded by the taxpayer. He's clinging to that property like it's his last shred of dignity. And Charles, instead of simply revoking his privilege, is now apparently negotiating which other multi-million-pound homes he can move into. Imagine that. The King of England bending over backwards to accommodate a man the public has rejected. This isn't leadership. This is weakness. This is corruption wearing a crown. And what's even more insulting? The timing. Britain is struggling. Families are choosing between heating and eating. The economy is unstable, and the monarchy still expects public funding to maintain its sprawling estates and lavish lifestyles. But behind palace walls, the big crisis is Andrew's housing problem. It's grotesque. You'd think Charles, as the so-called modern monarch, would recognise how tone-deaf this looks. But he doesn't care about optics, not when they involve his family. The royals love to preach about duty and service, but when it comes to accountability, that word disappears faster than their tax records. Andrew's situation is proof of that. He's been shielded for years, first by the late Queen, now by his brother. No matter how disgraceful his actions, there's always an excuse, always a soft landing. Meanwhile, the same institution that protects him waged an open, brutal media war against Harry and Meghan for simply stepping away and telling their truth. Let that sink in. Andrew keeps royal privileges despite the Epstein connection, but Harry and Meghan lose theirs for choosing peace and independence. The double standard is staggering. Let's not forget, this negotiation isn't about necessity. It's about ego. Andrew doesn't need two homes. He wants them because he feels entitled to them. He's the classic case of royal privilege gone rotten, a man who's never had to earn a thing, who's lived his entire life shielded from real consequence, and who genuinely believes he deserves the world's sympathy. And Charles? He enables it because he fears confrontation more than he fears public outrage. It's no wonder the palace leaks keep happening. This isn't an institution built on loyalty or trust, it's built on self-preservation. They leak against each other to manipulate the narrative, to save face, to control damage. And every time they do, we get a peek behind the curtain, and what we see isn't regal, it's rotten. People inside Buckingham Palace are talking. The aides are tired. Even senior courtiers are saying Charles looks indecisive, emotionally fragile, and too focused on family drama instead of public service. They say his leadership style is reactive, not proactive, that he governs through appeasement, not authority. And Andrew, of all people, has exploited that perfectly. You have to ask yourself, if this is how Charles handles a family squabble, what does that say about his ability to lead a country? If he can't even deal with his brother, how can he represent an entire nation? The truth is, Charles's reign has already been tainted. Between the eviction drama, the crumbling public image, and now this farce with Andrew, he's proving what many predicted. He's not a reformer. He's not a visionary. He's just a caretaker of a dying system. And make no mistake, the monarchy is dying. It's no longer sacred. It's no longer untouchable. The mystique is gone. People are seeing these royals for what they are, self-serving individuals clinging to power, money and privilege while pretending to serve the public. Andrew's little negotiation is just another crack in the facade. He's not afraid of Charles because he knows the monarchy fears public scandal more than it fears moral failure. Charles won't stand firm because he's too busy protecting his family's dirty laundry. He's spent decades building a carefully crafted image of moral superiority, but when push comes to shove, he caves. What's tragic is how predictable this all is. Andrew gets protected, William gets praised, Charles gets sympathy, and the only ones ever punished are the ones who dared to leave. Harry and Meghan were called traitors for walking away. Meanwhile, Andrew, with his scandalous history, still enjoys royal protection and property. It's disgusting. You have to wonder how long this charade can last. The British public isn't blind. They see the hypocrisy. They see the selective morality. They see the values this family claims to uphold and how easily they abandon them when it's convenient. Charles's weakness is more than personal, it's institutional. Every decision he makes sends a message about what the monarchy really stands for. And right now, that message is loud and clear. Corruption is forgiven, accountability is optional, and loyalty to the crown is only rewarded if you play their game. Meanwhile, Andrew sits back, smug in his victory. He knows he's embarrassed the monarchy, but he doesn't care. Because to him, it's not about public service or reputation, it's about maintaining his lifestyle. He's a man who's never faced a real consequence in his life, and Charles isn't about to start now. And here's the kicker, all of this drama, all of this chaos will once again be blamed on leaks and miscommunication. The palace will deny, deflect and distract. Maybe they'll throw in a few stories about Kate's fashion choices or William's modern leadership. It's their favourite tactic, distraction through PR. But people aren't buying it anymore. The public mood has shifted. The sympathy that once shielded this family is gone. And as each scandal unfolds, from Andrew's disgrace to Charles' indecision, the cracks only deepen. The firm is built on control, control of image, control of narrative, control of perception. But once that control slips, and it's slipping fast, what's left? Just a family of aging elites, fighting over houses, titles and headlines while pretending to be national treasures. So when we look at Andrew's so-called victory in this standoff, let's call it what it is, a symptom of decay. The monarchy has always rewarded silence and punished truth. Andrew's arrogance is just a reflection of that system, a system where accountability is an illusion and privilege always wins. Charles might think he's avoiding conflict, but he's actually feeding it. Because every time he bends to Andrew, he reinforces the very behaviour that's destroying their image. He's not protecting the monarchy, he's dismantling it, one cowardly compromise at a time. And honestly, maybe that's not such a bad thing. Because what we're seeing now is the true face of royalty, unfiltered, unpolished and utterly corrupt. The more the palace leaks, the more the world sees. And when the mask finally slips for good, there will be no amount of PR, no palace statement, and no glossy royal tour that can put it back together. So let me know what you think, Squaddies. Is this just another royal family meltdown, or are we witnessing the monarchy quietly implode from within? Because to me, it's not just about Andrew or Charles, it's about a system that's finally showing its cracks. The greed, the hypocrisy, the weakness, it's all out in the open now, and no amount of royal spin can hide it anymore.